All right. So why don't we start with an introduction? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Krishna Charan. I'm a vice president at Everest Group. I lead our talent acquisition research practice. So I focus on permanent talent acquisition and contingent workforce acquisition management. So I track all the developments related to talent services and technologies globally.
Well, very nice to have you on the podcast, Krishnan. And we have the pleasure of knowing each other for a while.
Yes.
And to discuss today how AI transformation with human in the leads is really happening in the world.
Right.
And maybe I'll start with these first questions around how AI is changing skills and capability in organization. What are you seeing in your research?
Sure. So I think first and foremost, skills is fundamentally transforming the way organizations think about talent. I think it's a given. We are observing it. So in terms of the phenomenon that are playing out, I would say AI is essentially impacting the landscape of skills or talent in general in three profound ways. So first and foremost, we are seeing emergence of new skill sets, right? So there are new skills getting created because of AI. So skills that did not exist like 6 months back, right? They are there now. Then secondly, we are seeing skills getting eliminated as well. And that's bound to happen with any new technology coming in. The skills that are getting eliminated. And thirdly, we're also seeing skills evolve as well. So what that means is skill sets that exist today, if you think about it, they're becoming more AI enabled. So when organizations think about the future of work and when they evaluate what skill sets they should be hiring for or what skill sets they need to have within their workforce, they are looking at all of these three elements holistically. Or if they're not doing it, they fundamentally need to look at it holistically, right? So when you think about future of work, you need to make sure that you have the skill sets not just for today, but what would be the future of talent or what would be the future of skills that you need to have within your organization. That becomes really important. The second thing I would like to also add perhaps here is we're also doing a lot of research on talent assessments, how talent, both your employees and the people that you hire, how they are being assessed. If you're looking at that particular market very closely, you'll see that AI related assessments are sort of becoming table stakes now. And this is happening across roles. So AI readiness, or maybe even behavior relief for the candidates, how likely are they to embrace AI in their current role? I think in addition to technical skills and other skills that are assessed, some of these AI related preparedness or readiness related skills are also being assessed. So I think I would say largely transformation in terms of how fundamental skills are being evaluated. And then of course, the AI skill assessment is a new and emerging concept that we see in the market today.
Thanks for that. And maybe if I may build on your answer before going to our next question, when you're talking about these three categories of skills, do you have a concrete example you could share with us?
Absolutely. So let's say in terms of skills that are getting eliminated, if you look at some of the software development roles or manual testing sort of roles, they're getting eliminated. When we think about new roles getting created, a lot of AI roles are getting created, right? So for example, AI prompt engineer, right? AI ethicist or AI governance related roles are getting created as well. And then within existing roles as well, if you think about it, there are a lot of AI augmentation happening. So it doesn't matter if it is a functional role or a technical role, even among functional skill sets like HR, recruitment. There are a lot of roles where AI has become the critical component or a skill set that becomes embedded within your broader job descriptions, I would say. These are few examples.
Yeah.
Sure, probably you are seeing this as well.
Absolutely. And I think the point you're making about we need to go beyond the job to the task level and to the components of the jobs, and some being eliminated because completely delegated to an AI, some being augmented, and some that will remain human.
Right.
And that's actually my next question. If I take the reverse of the first question,
Yeah.
when you think about what AI transformation is pushing us humans to do, where do we specifically create value as humans when we have to work alongside an AI?
That's a great question. I think the common misconception that we see among a lot of organizations is they sort of see it as humans versus AI, and that's not the case at all, right? It's humans and AI. So humans and AI will coexist. They will learn to coexist, right? You'll be forced to do that. So in terms of places where AI creates value, think about bringing in efficiencies, right? Automating tasks at scale, handling, let's say, high volume hiring, right? There are some specific use cases where AI is already doing well and will continue to do well, right? But when you really think about, let's say, judgment, governance, the entire ownership, that's still a lot of that has to be driven by humans. So that's where humans will be relevant, and it's also important that the human in the loop that we talk about, right? That will exist, and I'm sure, like based on our research, it's not just the phenomenon, it's not just the case today, at least for the foreseeable future, in the next 3 to 5 years, I would say the relevance of human will only increase and it's not going to depreciate at all. That's the other thing I would say. And speaking about value, humans and AI together, probably the other thing I'll add is we have talked quite a bit about skill augmentation and new skills getting another picture, right? I want to hit this point on the head, right? Where we said AI and humans will continue to exist and they have to exist, right? So it's not going to be the case that one thing is going to replace the other thing completely.
I think what I'm taking away from what you're saying is that the value of one will only exist if the value of the other continues to be enhanced.
Absolutely.
So it's really the two together that will really bring value. And then drives me to my third question, which is for yourself in your own organization as a research company or in the organization that you've been surveying, where do you see the early signals of outcomes and impact that AI is already driving as it is being implemented? So maybe we start with what you see for your own company and maybe what you observe with your clients and customers.
Absolutely. So speaking about the impact of AI, I think it has implications and use cases across industries, across job types. That's a given. So within our organization, for example, as an analyst, we are using AI quite heavily, right? So we are using AI in some places as a brainstorming partner, right? Just like how we would do that with our fellow analysts, we are sort of also talking to AI, trying to get its perspective, trying to validate some of the hypotheses that we have. So it's really helping in that regard. We are getting a lot of the tasks automated as well. So for example, we do a lot of research, we do a lot of data gathering. So how can we streamline all that data gathering and how can we do some of the analysis that was previously human led? How can we do some of that using AI is what we are testing, and we have also moved beyond testing phase and started implementing that as well. In terms of the benefits that our clients are seeing, I would actually answer it in two parts. First and foremost, there are still a lot of organizations that are taking a use case focused lens to AI implementation. So what that means is they're essentially looking at specific use cases where AI can potentially give them some sort of an advantage. They're definitely looking at some of that. But then there are organizations that are taking a slightly different approach. They are taking a transformative approach towards AI implementation. So what that means is they're fundamentally rethinking, right, redesigning their workflows, and in a way rebuilding their business processes, organization structures, delivery capabilities, so on and so forth, keeping the AI ready world in mind. So I think these are the two different approaches being taken by organizations, and both of them have advantages. But if you really want AI to be truly transformative, you need to redesign, right? You need to rethink how you're working. Use cases, of course, they bring in some efficiency gains, they'll help with some cost reduction. So all of those things are happening. For example, let us take the example of recruitment, which is close to our heart. So within recruitment, you can apply AI for, let's say, sourcing, screening, right? You can look at all of those tasks individually as well. And of course, you get a lot of benefits out of it, as one can expect. However, there are also organizations that are fundamentally changing their entire approach. If I have to give you a couple of examples, you are seeing organizations that are redesigning their HR org structure altogether, right? So they're bringing in, let's say, recruitment, learning and development, internal mobility functions together. They're taking a much more skills-based approach towards hiring and even internal employee assessments as well. So I think this is the place where we see the benefits to extend beyond just pure cost savings, and they can really have implications on the overall strategy and the business objectives that they have at an entire organization level as well. So that's the evolution we need to see. And to be very honest, everyone is still trying to figure out. They're not really sure where to get started. Some of them are perhaps doing this because of FOMO, they're like, okay, everyone is talking about AI, they're implementing AI, so let's jump on the AI bandwagon and start implementing it and see where it goes. So that shouldn't be the approach. You should be in this for the long haul and really understand why you are implementing AI. Right? We need to have that. The business case needs to be absolutely clear, and what is the end goal that you have in mind also needs to be absolutely clear.
So thank you for that. And I think what I'm taking away from your answer is that there's really two types of outcomes. The kind of augmentation outcome, which is just giving you better impact based on the usage of AI to improve the outcome that you're doing.
Right.
Or a more drastic transformation where you completely rethink all your processes and what you're doing at the core of your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to shift gears because we have a couple of minutes left,
Okay.
and maybe to a little deeper in the world of recruitment. Lately, especially with the capability that AI is bringing, there's been a lot of talk about workforce orchestration.
Yeah.
So tell me, what does this look like?
I think for me, workforce orchestration and work orchestration need to go hand in hand. So what this means is 2-3 years back when we had conversations with enterprises, with our clients, so most of the conversations were around, hey, what should be the ideal mix of, let's say, permanent and contingent workforce within my workforce? So that's how they were looking at workforce orchestration. And when we talk about contingent, they're thinking about, freelancers, independent contractors, statement of work, so on and so forth. But now the conversation has moved beyond just people to humans plus agents. So when you think about workforce planning and workforce augmentation, you need to think about the right mix of humans, which is permanent workers and contingent workers, and agents. So it's a mix of all three of these components. And speaking about work augmentation, I think you all heard about how work can be broken down into tasks. And at the task level, you can really decide, hey, what's the best way for us to get this task accomplished? Should be human executing the task or should be agents or AI executing that task? So I think that's the other lens too. I wouldn't say a lot of organizations are still thinking at that level. Of course, I mean, things need to evolve gradually as AI matures and as some of the promise that it has on paper today, once it starts translating into real outcomes and once people see more examples of where it's working, we will definitely see more and more of this happening as well. For workforce orchestration or augmentation, whatever you want to call it, again, it links back to the point we were discussing around future of work. So future of work or workforce is not just humans, it has to be humans plus agents coexisting. And that's what it is.
Well, thank you very much. I think this will be your final words. I really love this conversation. Thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.